it's just like my eye and the way I see the world, and I've learned to be able to like translate that. My name's Tom Grut. I am a director and photographer and now manager, and I'm from Tāmaki Makaurau, West Auckland, born and raised.
Tom Grut has spent the best part of a decade directing and photographing a dynamic range of creative projects and commercials. He has worked with brands like Live Nation and Red Bull and shot music videos for Kiwi artists like Teeks, Jess B and Sweat It. In this Director's Talk special, Serum share insights into Grut's world of directing in New Zealand's small but vibrant music video industry.
Like really blurred lines about like with like content creators and like video creation as to like what directing actually is. And I think you kind of have to go through that like to like directing is like a very specific job. It gets so messy now with social media and what everyone's required to give, like in terms of being a content creator and doing this and that. What will kind of stand over time is like the artist, the like photographers, directors who can just like give something that like we can look back on in years and be like, oh, that was that time period. It's like looking back and watching Scribe's The Crusader.
Grut says taking a human-centered approach to networking is key. Nowadays, he's opened pathways for up-and-coming photographers to shoot at festivals alongside him. Stay tuned to hear his insights into decoding his world and translating it onto the screen.
Been trying to find just more ways to help people just kind of like at least get like a foot in the door so they can kind of see what they can do, you know, like and actually have support, all like learn from each other. And I just think like there's absolutely no piece of knowledge that you should not share. It's like you can tell someone how to build a house, but like it takes like years of experience to actually do it properly. You know, like you can't, like me just telling someone, oh, I use this camera setting or like I do this filter or whatever, like is not going to give away my secrets, because like what I do is like it's just like my eye and the way I see the world, and I've learned to be able to like translate that.
Stay tuned to hear his insights into decoding his world and translating it onto the screen.
COVID aside, patience is massively important. It's kind of this thing where you do a video and you're like, oh yeah, like I'm just going to do heaps more work now. But it doesn't quite work like that. And it's what I realized over time, and especially looking back with hindsight, is it really takes time to kind of set yourself in the scene and like for people to know who you are. And it doesn't just kind of work like, oh, you did a cool video and now all of a sudden everyone's going to throw work at you. Like you really have to like build it. It took probably in my head a couple of years of directing music videos until I felt like I was getting to the point where that ball was rolling. It is a snowball, and it's like it's not a steep hill. Like it can be, like obviously. And I think that people who make it are the ones who are like really focused and driven and will make things happen themselves and are willing to kind of just keep going. Yeah, I think I'd also keen to see way more women DOPs and directors come up. There's definitely like a few coming up at the moment.
What's been your observation of that space?
I mean, I think in general, obviously, all these industries are fairly male dominated and weighted. I definitely have noticed it when it comes to things like festivals and festival teams. I think what happens, right, is like you kind of get that gap, and then it's like people are like, oh well, these guys know what they're doing, but it's like the wahine are not getting the opportunity to kind of get their foot in the door and like start getting that experience. I collaborate with Devin Narsai a lot, and he just turned 26 today. And we always joke because he's like 7 years younger than me, but doesn't feel that different, like because we kind of came up at the same time, and like I've learned a lot from him. Just, you know, and like I never had this mindset like, oh, this guy's like younger than me. I was just like, you know, it's just, I don't know, like I think everyone's just at different stages.
Do you see yourself as a leader? Sorry, awkward.
Okay, wait, all right. I'm gonna say yes, just because I feel like if I don't, then I'm not gonna do the things I need to do. I think like, so like I was the moment like I mentioned where I was like I realized that there were people who did look up to me.
Yeah.
And I think if I don't accept or acknowledge that, then I'm not gonna actually help anyone, because it's like, like I think I put that I want to put more pressure on myself.
Yeah.
You just give people a chance to get into those shows, and I think the people who will make it after that are the ones who like I said, have that tenacity and are like,
Yeah.
oh, this is cool, like I can do this and this.
Falling in love with live music photography first, the vibrant energy of music festivals has been an influence on his own content.
But live music's a tough one at the moment, and there are less avenues to shoot live music now. Like media is struggling to get in. So it is tough, and it's like I hate it when people ask me how to get into it. That my answer was always just like, like there are like, obviously like starting small and reaching out to artists, venues, tech teams, all that kind of stuff is possible. This to me felt like a way I could just give people a chance to, be in those spaces.
There's been this impossible hill the creatives have in New Zealand of, tall poppy syndrome, gatekeeping. Any other insights for directors or things that you would like access to as a director that you could share with me?
It's a good question. I think it would be cool. So like, say again, going back to like the MMF, like once I joined that, they've got like a network of mentors where it's like you can just be like, I want to talk to this person, and it might be like Lorraine Barry, and it's just like you can just talk to them, and they'll meet up and that for sessions. Maybe like it would be good to have something like that for directors. Maybe there is something like that like in the guilds or something, but like I think a lot of stuff is very focused, like maybe that might be more focused on like narrative stuff. I think it would be cool to have for young directors to know that they can be like, oh cool, I can just like send an email to this and then I can chat to Tom.
Tyler the Creator's Camp Flognaw Carnival at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles was one festival Gru says was pivotal for him as a moment creator.
A bit of history with Flognaw was I went in 2019 with some of my best mates and my wife, and it was the first time I'd seen Tyler the Creator, and it was a bit of like a life-changing moment in hindsight, because like in New Zealand everything feels far away and like very out of reach, but watching Tyler, I was just like, wow, like there was like 60,000 people there. It was his festival that he built from the ground. It came from nothing, he's just this crazy kid who just like wanted to make shit happen with his friends. And like just seeing that in person, and like I was just like hyper aware. He did this all through just being like crazy enough to believe that he could. And like he brought his friends up with him, built up everyone around him. And I was just like hyper aware of that.
Now managing Kiwi band Double Parked, he says juggling family life as a professional creative is about being kind to himself and learning to regulate the off switch.
Good mental health. Oh, I'd like to say I'm doing it. I've got a 3-year-old and I've got another one on the way.
Oh,
and I'm just, thanks. Due in October. So it's all very exciting, and it's the juggle of needing to work to bring in income and to like build something, and to like, in my eyes, build something that my kids can look up to, but then also trying to balance the time. That is probably the one thing most constantly on my mind work-wise, because it's just always like formulating and plotting, and it's just like, which I love, but it's really hard to find the off switch. So I'm trying to get better. It's hard because I really don't I haven't really like, I have moments where I'm good, like in terms of like whether it's like managing my social media use or reading more, making sure I do certain things in the morning. But I think I'm just always trying, and like it's a slow journey, and I think I'm trying to be easy on myself, maybe.
Do you feel supported in Auckland and living in Auckland?
100%. Yeah, I think especially in that space. As like a director, it feels like a little bit in the Wild West, especially in the directing space I'm in. There doesn't really seem to be any kind of as much support around that. But when it comes to managing, like they're unbelievable. Like Lorraine and Kushla who run MMF are like, they're so loving and caring and like just there for you, like really you need it. When I started managing, a lot of managers that I've been working with for years, like through their artists, like have just been there for support.
Working with artists like Diggy Dupe, Wagwan, and Teeks, Grut says he has been influenced by Kendrick Lamar's career on and off the camera.
I mean, it literally says Kendrick Lamar academic in my like bio, so you know, I definitely lean into it. For years, especially more now than ever, I've always looked up to him as like the barometer of like what a great artist is. And Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers felt like a very life-shifting album for me. It came out like 2 weeks after Casper was born. I joked at the time, I was like, oh yo, I'm ready for Kendrick's dad bars. He was kind of a new dad at the time. And then I was like listening to the album like 2 weeks after Casper was born, like pretty much crying. I was like, I don't think I was ready for these dad bars, like, you know, but like, I think him and Dave Free at PG Lang are like, I'd say almost in some ways, like Dave, like the way Dave Free has moved with Kendrick, his career is probably as close to like my number one inspiration as I can get. I think it should be studied. I think there's a lot to learn, and not in the specifics, because not everyone can just do the things they did. But I just don't think some people understand also how hard it is to like put on a hip hop show like that and to rap the way he does. Like, I don't know if there's anyone apart from Tyler the Creator who is like rapping like that, and the physicality, you know, like Kendrick's clearly working, like he talked about how he was working out and training for his performances now. And I just think, like, I don't know why more people aren't thinking about stuff, you know, like it's like all great artists have transcended through their performances like that, you know, like you can't really capture the imagination of people if you don't put that effort back in. And it's cool to see it really pushing through in hip hop now. And it, you know, there's always the fight with like a lot of the general public to prove that hip hop is like legitimate, you know, like that's still like a conversation for some people, which is nuts. And I think, you know, artists like Tyler and Kendrick actually like just really pushing the boat out. And you know, and I think like, again, I think Tyler's talked about this recently, which I love, but he's like, he hates it when people are too cool to try. And I think putting effort into things is cool. like I hate seeing an artist just, you can tell they're just too cool to try to like put a bit of effort into it. And I'm like, you know, it just feels like a wasted opportunity. And like, and it's cool to see that happening. And I think it's happening in a lot of genres right now. We're seeing a lot of the big artists really lean back into theatricality. With Baby coming in October, I think, and the EP coming out with Double Part, I think those are my priorities. You know, like now it's like, you know, if it's goal to go to Coachella, it's like maybe that would be cool to do with Double Part or an artist in that. You know, to me that is almost like more appealing now. So it's like maybe those goals shift. But
I think that is the last question I want to ask you. Advice or hindsight or perspective of being a professional working creative, like, and actually it's your profession.
I think focus on relationships.
Okay.
Always put the relationship first. It's important to get better at your work, but if you're great at your work but you're not good at relationships, then it's going to be really difficult. And so always, any job I'm working on, I'm always trying to take the long game with it. Like don't count pennies. Like don't you know, don't do an extra hour on it. Like, especially when it comes to like music video space, like very different to like say corporate clients, but like I don't, sometimes like, oh, can I get this extra picture? I'm not like, oh yeah, that's this much, you know, like I try to have a holistic view of it, because it's like, especially most artists don't have money, and like, or like they have like limited funding. So it's really important to be aware of that. If you want to do it and be in this space, then you have to be very open to things. And I think and that long game comes into play there too. It's just being like, where do I want to go? Like, how do I want to build this? But the relationships you have will be the things that will keep moving you forward. You don't want to work with someone once and then never want to work with you again, even if they like the product. I think that would be worst case scenario for me.